Ladies and gentlemen, at this very moment, your life is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Every breath you take, every thought that crosses your mind, every step you've taken to get where you are today, it's all part of a magnificent plan that's bigger than what your logical mind can understand. You're being pulled in the right direction, even when it doesn't feel that way. I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there wondering how that can be true when everything seems to be falling apart. When your dreams feel distant, when your bank account is empty, when relationships are crumbling, when health issues arise, when doors keep slamming shut in your face. How can any of that be right? How can struggle and pain and disappointment be part of some grand design? Here's what I've learned after decades of studying human potential and watching thousands of people transform their lives. What we call problems are actually redirections. What we label as failures are really course corrections. What we experience as pain is often our soul's way of saying, not this way, try that way. The universe has a way of steering us toward our highest good even when we're kicking and screaming against it. Think about the times in your life when something you desperately wanted didn't work out. Maybe it was a job you were sure you needed, a relationship you thought was perfect, a house you had to have, a dream that seemed to slip through your fingers. At the time, you probably felt devastated. You might have questioned everything, wondered why life was so unfair, why good things happened to other people but not to you. But then months or years later, you look back and realize that not getting what you wanted was actually a blessing. The job you didn't get led you to something better. The relationship that ended made room for your true love. The house you couldn't buy saved you from financial ruin. The dream that died gave birth to an even bigger one. This is the universe pulling you in the right direction. Even when it feels like you're being pushed away from what you want, your life is not random. Your experiences are not meaningless. There's an intelligence at work that's far greater than your ego's understanding. This intelligence knows things about your future that you cannot possibly know. It sees the whole picture while you only see a tiny fragment. It's orchestrating events, bringing people into your life, creating circumstances that will serve your highest evolution. But here's the key. You have to learn to trust this process. You have to surrender your need to control every outcome and direct every detail. You have to release your death grip on how you think things should unfold and allow them to unfold as they will. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your goals. It means taking inspired action while staying open to possibilities you haven't considered. Most people live their lives backwards. They decide what they want, make a plan, and then try to force reality to match their expectations. When things don't go according to their plan, they get frustrated, angry, depressed. They fight against what is instead of flowing with what is. They waste enormous amounts of energy trying to swim upstream instead of letting the current carry them to where they need to go. What if you tried a different approach? What if you set your intentions, took action toward your goals, but remained flexible about how those goals manifest? What if you trusted that the delays, detours, and seeming dead ends were actually part of a perfect unfolding? What if you believed that you were always being guided toward your highest good, even when it didn't look that way? This requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself and your place in the universe. Instead of seeing yourself as separate from life, fighting against circumstances, you begin to see yourself as part of the flow of life, dancing with circumstances. Instead of demanding that life conform to your will, you align your will with life's natural rhythm. Instead of trying to push the river, you learn to go with the current. When you make this shift, something magical happens. Opportunities appear that you never could have planned. People show up at exactly the right moment. Resources become available just when you need them. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. What seemed like coincidences reveal themselves as synchronicities, meaningful connections that guide you forward. But you have to be paying attention. You have to be awake to the signs and signals that life is constantly sending you. Most people are so busy looking at where they think they should be going that they miss the breadcrumbs leading them to where they need to go. They're so focused on their old map that they don't notice the new territory opening up before them. Life speaks to you and whispers before it shouts. It sends gentle nudges before it delivers major shocks. That feeling in your gut that something isn't right, that's guidance. That person who keeps showing up in your life, that's not random. That book that falls off the shelf, that conversation you overhear, that thought that won't leave you alone. These are all ways that life is trying to communicate with you. Your job is to listen. Your job is to pay attention. Your job is to follow the energy, to move toward what feels expansive and away from what feels contractive. Your intuition is your internal guidance system, and it's far more reliable than your rational mind when it comes to navigating the unknown territory of your life. Your intuition has taught you to distrust your intuition, to rely only on logic and reason. You've been conditioned to believe that if you can't explain it, analyze it, or prove it, then it's not real. This conditioning cuts you off from one of your most powerful tools for creating a fulfilling life. Your intuition is the voice of your higher self, the part of you that's connected to the universal intelligence that's orchestrating your life. When you learn to trust your intuition, you begin to make choices that are aligned with your soul's purpose rather than your ego's desires. You stop chasing things that look good on paper but feel empty inside. You start moving toward experiences that may not make logical sense but feel absolutely right. You begin to live authentically instead of trying to live up to other people's expectations. This is what it means to trust the unfolding of your life. It means recognizing that there's a wisdom at work that's far greater than your personality's understanding. It means having faith that even when you can't see the next step, the path is there. It means believing that you're supported by forces you may not understand but can learn to rely on. Many people resist this idea because they think it means they have no control over their lives. They worry that if they stop trying to manage every detail, everything will fall apart. But the opposite is true. When you stop fighting against the current of your life and start flowing with it, you find that you have more power, not less. You're no longer wasting energy on battles you can't win. You're channeling your energy into actions that are supported by the universe. This doesn't mean everything becomes easy. Life will still present you with challenges, obstacles, setbacks. But these challenges become opportunities for growth rather than evidence that life is against you. These obstacles become stepping stones rather than roadblocks. These setbacks become setups for comebacks that are bigger than anything you could have planned. When you trust the unfolding of your life, you develop what I call divine patience. You understand that everything has its own timing, its own season. You stop trying to force fruit to grow faster than it naturally would. You stop expecting spring flowers in the middle of winter. You learn to honor the natural rhythms of growth, which include periods of dormancy, germination, budding, blooming, and harvest. Most people want to skip from planting seeds directly to harvest time. They want immediate results, instant gratification, overnight success. But nature doesn't work that way, and neither does human development. There are necessary seasons in the growth of anything meaningful. There are underground periods where roots develop before shoots appear. There are times of apparent inactivity that are actually periods of intense preparation. If you're in one of these underground periods right now, don't despair. Don't assume that nothing is happening because you can't see progress on the surface. Some of the most important work happens in darkness, in silence, in the invisible realm, where character is formed and strength is built and wisdom is gained. Trust that process. Honor that timing. Know that when you're ready, when the conditions are right, you'll break through into the light. The universe operates on a different timeline than your ego does. Your ego wants everything now. It's impatient, demanding, urgent. But your soul knows that the best things in life are worth waiting for, worth growing into, worth becoming worthy of. Your soul understands that premature success can be more destructive than temporary failure. Your soul is willing to go through whatever process is necessary to create something truly beautiful and lasting. This is why you must learn to distinguish between the voice of your ego and the voice of your soul. Your ego is the part of you that's afraid, that needs to prove itself, that's constantly comparing itself to others. Your ego is driven by fear, lack, and the need for external validation. When your ego is in charge, you make decisions based on what looks impressive to other people rather than what feels right to you. Your soul, on the other hand, is the part of you that's connected to something infinite and eternal. Your soul knows who you really are beyond your roles, your achievements, your possessions. Your soul is driven by love, purpose, and the desire to serve something greater than yourself. When your soul is in charge, You make decisions based on what brings you alive, what uses your gifts, what contributes to the healing of the world. Learning to trust the unfolding of your life means learning to listen to your soul rather than your ego. It means making choices from love rather than fear, from abundance rather than scarcity, from faith rather than doubt. It means asking not what's in it for me, but how can I serve? Not what can I get, but what can I give? Not how can I look good, but how can I be good? When you shift from ego-based living to soul-based living, your entire life changes. You stop trying to force outcomes and start allowing them to unfold. You stop pushing against resistance and start looking for the message in the resistance. You stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as information about where to focus your attention or what needs to heal within you. Every obstacle in your path is actually an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every ending is a beginning in disguise. Every loss makes room for something new to enter your life. Every challenge is preparing you for the next level of your evolution. But you have to shift your perspective to see this. You have to stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as a student in the school of life. You have to stop resisting your experiences and start embracing them as exactly what you need for your growth. This shift in perspective is not always easy. Sometimes life asks you to go through experiences that feel unbearable. Sometimes the unfolding includes loss, illness, betrayal, failure. Sometimes the direction you're being pulled feels like the wrong direction entirely. In these moments, trust becomes a choice rather than a feeling. Faith becomes an act of will rather than a natural response. But even in the darkest moments, especially in the darkest moments, you're being prepared for something beautiful. The caterpillar has no idea that its apparent death is actually its transformation into a butterfly. The seed doesn't understand that its breaking apart is necessary for it to become a tree. You may not see the purpose in your pain right now, but that doesn't mean there isn't one. Some of the most remarkable people I've known have been forged in the fires of adversity. Their greatest gifts emerged from their greatest challenges. Their deepest wisdom came from their darkest hours. Their most powerful messages were born from their most painful experiences. What broke them open also broke them through to a level of authenticity and compassion they never could have reached any other way. If you're going through a difficult time right now, consider the possibility that you're not being punished. You're being prepared. You're not being held back. You're being set up. You're not being abandoned. You're being refined. The very experiences that feel like they're destroying you may actually be reconstructing you into someone capable of handling greater joy, deeper love, more meaningful success than you've ever known. This is the paradox of spiritual growth. Sometimes you have to fall apart to come together at a higher level. Sometimes you have to lose everything you thought you wanted to find what you truly need. Sometimes you have to go through hell to appreciate heaven. Sometimes you have to experience your darkest night to see the dawn that's coming. But you don't have to go through these experiences alone. The same intelligence that's orchestrating your life's unfolding is also supporting you through every challenge. You have access to a strength that's greater than your own, a wisdom that transcends your understanding, a love that can carry you through anything. You just have to learn to tap into it. This requires developing what I call spiritual muscles. Just like physical muscles grow stronger through resistance training, spiritual muscles grow stronger through life's challenges. Your faith muscle grows stronger each time you choose trust over fear. Your courage muscle grows stronger each time you take action despite uncertainty. Your compassion muscle grows stronger each time you respond with love instead of judgment. These muscles don't develop overnight. They require practice, patience, commitment. They require you to show up consistently, especially when you don't feel like it. They require you to choose growth over comfort, truth over convenience, love over fear again and again and again. But as these muscles develop, you become capable of handling whatever life presents with wisdom and strength. You also begin to see patterns in your life that you never noticed before. You realize that the same lessons keep showing up until you learn them. You notice that the same types of people keep appearing until you understand what they're teaching you. You recognize that the same situations keep arising until you develop the wisdom to handle them differently. This is not punishment, it's education. Life is a patient teacher that will present the same curriculum in different forms until you master the material. Once you learn a lesson, you don't need to repeat that class. Once you develop a particular strength, life stops sending you experiences designed to build that strength. Once you integrate a specific wisdom, you move on to the next level of learning. Understanding this pattern helps you approach your challenges with curiosity rather than resistance. Instead of thinking, not this again, you can think, what am I supposed to learn from this? Instead of feeling victimized by recurring patterns, you can feel empowered by the opportunity to break free from them. Instead of dreading difficult situations, you can see them as chances to demonstrate how much you've grown. This shift in attitude changes everything. When you see challenges as opportunities, you approach them with confidence rather than fear. When you view setbacks as setups, you bounce back faster and stronger. When you understand that you're always being prepared for your next level, you can trust the process even when it's uncomfortable. But trusting the process doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to happen to you. It means taking inspired action while remaining open to course corrections. It means planting seeds while trusting the harvest to unfold in its own time. It means doing your part while allowing the universe to do its part. Your part is to stay aligned with your values, to listen to your inner guidance, to take steps toward your goals, to serve others along the way. The universe's part is to orchestrate the timing, to provide the resources, to arrange the meetings, to open the doors that you cannot open yourself. When you do your part with faith and the universe does its part with precision, miracles become normal occurrences in your life. But you have to let go of your attachment to specific outcomes. You have to be willing to want what you want, but hold it lightly. You have to be open to receiving what you've asked for in ways you never expected from sources you never considered, at times that surprise you. Sometimes what you think you want is just a symbol for what you really need. And life will give you the essence of your desire in a package you didn't anticipate. This requires developing what I call holy indifference. Caring deeply about your growth and service while being unattached to particular results. It means giving your best effort while surrendering the outcome. It means planting seeds with love while trusting the garden to grow according to its own wisdom. It means showing up fully while letting go completely. This balance between effort and surrender, between caring and letting go, between intention and detachment is one of the most challenging aspects of trusting life's unfolding. Most people swing between extremes, either trying to control everything or giving up entirely. But the middle path requires you to be both fully engaged and completely surrendered, both passionately committed and peacefully detached. When you find this balance, you enter what athletes call the zone, a state where action happens effortlessly, where you're performing at your peak without strain, where everything flows naturally. In this state, you're not trying to make things happen. You're allowing them to happen through you. You're not pushing against resistance. You're dancing with the forces of life. This is what it looks like to live in alignment with unfolding of your life. You're awake to the signals, responsive to the guidance, trusting of the process. You're participating fully while interfering minimally. You're giving your gifts while receiving the gifts that life is constantly offering you. You're being pulled in the right direction because you've learned to recognize which way the current is flowing. But this recognition requires you to spend time in silence, in stillness, in solitude. In our noisy, busy, distracted world, it's easy to miss the subtle communications that life is always sending. The voice of your soul speaks in whispers, not shouts. The guidance of your intuition comes through feelings, not thoughts. The direction you're being pulled reveals itself in quiet moments, not chaotic ones. This is why spiritual traditions across cultures emphasize the importance of meditation, prayer, contemplation, time in nature. These practices create space for you to hear the still small voice within, to sense the subtle energies around you, to feel the gentle pull toward your highest good. Without this inner awareness, you're navigating by your ego's limited understanding instead of your soul's infinite wisdom. Regular periods of silence also help you distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of love. Fear speaks urgently, demanding immediate action based on worst-case scenarios. Love speaks calmly, inviting patient response based on trust in the best possible outcomes. Fear contracts your energy and narrows your options. Love expands your energy and multiplies your possibilities. When you're connected to love, to trust, to faith, in the unfolding of your life, you make different choices. You choose opportunities that excite you rather than ones that just pay well. You choose relationships that nurture your soul rather than ones that just meet social expectations. You choose work that uses your gifts rather than just advancing your career. You choose experiences that help you grow rather than ones that just help you escape. These choices align you with the current of your life rather than against it. They put you in harmony with your deepest purpose rather than at odds with it. They connect you to the flow of abundance rather than the struggle of scarcity. They position you to receive the gifts that life is trying to give you rather than blocking them with resistance. As you learn to make choices from this aligned place, you begin to notice that life becomes easier, not because you're avoiding challenges, but because you're facing the right challenges. You're working with your natural talents rather than against them. You're following your authentic path rather than trying to walk someone else's. You're living your own life rather than the life others expect you to live. This authenticity is magnetic. When you're being genuinely yourself, you attract people and opportunities that resonate with who you really are. You stop having to pretend to perform to prove yourself. You can simply be yourself and trust that the right people will appreciate you and the wrong people will find someone else to bother. But being authentic requires courage, especially in a world that often rewards conformity. It means being willing to stand out, to be different, to disappoint people who have other plans for your life. It means trusting your inner, knowing even when others question your choices. It means following your heart even when your head says it doesn't make sense. This courage develops gradually as you accumulate evidence that trusting your inner guidance leads to better outcomes than ignoring it. Every time you follow your intuition and things work out, your confidence grows. Every time you override your gut feeling and regret it later, you learn to pay closer attention to those subtle signals. Every time you choose authenticity over approval and feel more at peace, you strengthen your commitment to being genuine. Over time, you develop what I call spiritual confidence, an unshakable knowing that you're exactly where you need to be. Learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to be. This confidence doesn't come from external achievements or other people's opinions. It comes from your direct experience of being guided, supported, and loved by the intelligence that created you. This spiritual confidence allows you to weather any storm with grace. When others are panicking about uncertain times, you remain calm because you trust that every ending is also a beginning. When others are devastated by unexpected changes, you stay curious about where the changes might lead. When others are paralyzed by fear of the unknown, you remain excited about the possibilities that uncertainty always contains. You begin to see that every ending in your life has made room for something better. Every door that closed led to a better door opening. Every relationship that ended prepared you for a deeper love. Every job you lost guided you toward work that was more fulfilling. Every plan that fell apart gave birth to something more beautiful than what you had originally envisioned. This perspective transforms how you relate to change, loss, uncertainty. Instead of seeing these as threats to your security, you see them as invitations to grow. Instead of resisting them, you welcome them as signs that you're ready for your next level. Instead of fearing them, you embrace them as evidence that life is still unfolding, still creating, still pulling you toward greater joy and fulfillment. When you reach this level of trust, you realize that you've never been lost, you've only been becoming, you've never been off track. You've only been exploring different tracks to find the one that fits you best. You've never been abandoned. You've only been learning to rely on the unshakable love and guidance that's always available within you. This realization brings profound peace. You stop struggling against life and start flowing with it. You stop trying to control outcomes and start enjoying the process. You stop focusing on what's missing and start appreciating what's present. You stop living in fear of the future and start trusting in the goodness that's always unfolding. From this place of trust and peace, you become a blessing to everyone around you. Your calm presence reassures others who are struggling with uncertainty. Your faith inspires others who are questioning their path. Your joy uplifts others who are going through difficult times. Your very being becomes a testament to the truth that we are all being pulled in the right direction, even when we can't see where we're going. This is your invitation to trust the unfolding of your life completely, to believe that every experience is serving your highest good, to know that you're supported by a love that will never fail you, to understand that you're part of a magnificent story that's still being written, to have faith that the best chapters of your life may still be ahead of you right now in this moment. You're exactly where you need to be. Reading these words, feeling whatever you're feeling, facing whatever challenges you're facing, carrying whatever dreams you're carrying, all of this is part of your perfect unfolding. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the intelligence that brought you this far and will carry you forward into whatever comes next. You're being pulled in the right direction, always without exception. Even when it doesn't feel that way, especially when it doesn't feel that way, your life is not a random series of events. It's a purposeful unfolding of infinite love expressing itself as you trust that, live that, be that, and watch as your life becomes a masterpiece of meaning, joy, and service to the world. The beauty of this understanding is that it frees you from the exhausting burden of having to figure everything out. You don't need to have all the answers before you take the next step. You don't need to see the whole staircase before you put your foot on the first step. You don't need to understand the complete blueprint before you begin building. All you need is willingness to move forward with faith, knowing that each step will be illuminated as you take it. This is how life works, not through detailed plans and guaranteed outcomes, but through responsive movement and adaptive growth. Like a river that finds its way to the ocean by following the path of least resistance, your life flows toward its destination by responding to the natural contours of your experience. The river doesn't struggle against the landscape. It works with the landscape to create something beautiful. Many people exhaust themselves trying to swim upstream against the natural flow of their lives. They force relationships that aren't meant to be, chase careers that don't fulfill them, cling to versions of themselves they've outgrown. This resistance creates tremendous suffering because it puts you in opposition to the very forces that are trying to carry you toward joy and fulfillment. When you release this resistance, when you stop fighting the current and start flowing with it, you discover that life has its own intelligence about what serves you best. You find that the things you thought you had to have weren't actually necessary for your happiness. You realize that the experiences you thought you had to avoid were exactly what you needed for your growth. You understand that the timing you thought was wrong was actually perfect. This shift from resistance to flow requires what spiritual teachers call surrendering your personal will to divine will. This doesn't mean becoming passive or powerless. It means aligning your individual desires with the larger purpose that's expressing itself through your life. It means wanting what life wants for you. Not because you're giving up your dreams, but because you're opening to dreams that are even bigger than what your limited perspective could envision. When you make this surrender, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself. You don't give up your power. You connect to a power that's infinitely greater than what you could generate through effort alone. You don't abandon your goals. You open to goals that serve not just your personal happiness, but the healing and elevation of everyone whose life you touch. This expanded vision of your purpose is one of the greatest gifts of learning to trust life's unfolding. You begin to see that your individual journey is part of a collective awakening that's happening on our planet. Your personal healing contributes to the healing of the world. Your individual growth advances the evolution of consciousness itself. Your unique gifts are needed pieces in the vast puzzle of human potential, being assembled by forces beyond our comprehension. Understanding this larger context gives profound meaning to every experience, even the difficult ones. Your struggles aren't just personal challenges. They're opportunities to develop strengths and wisdom that will serve others who face similar difficulties. Your breakthroughs aren't just individual victories. They're contributions to the collective understanding of what's possible for human beings. Your very existence isn't just a personal story. It's a unique note in the symphony of life that couldn't be played by anyone else. This awareness fills you with a sense of responsibility and purpose that transforms how you approach each day. You stop asking, "What can I get from life?" and start asking, "What can I give through life?" You stop focusing on what's in it for you and start focusing on how you can be of service. You stop trying to take from the world and start looking for ways to contribute to the world. But this service doesn't require you to sacrifice your own needs or ignore your own desires. True service comes from overflow, not depletion. When you're aligned with your authentic path, when you're doing what you love and loving what you do, when you're being genuinely yourself, you naturally have more to offer others. Your joy becomes contagious. Your peace becomes a sanctuary for troubled hearts. Your faith becomes an anchor for those who are struggling with doubt. This is the paradox of spiritual living. The more you focus on serving others, the more fulfilled you become. The more you give of your gifts, the more those gifts multiply. The more you share your light, the brighter your own light becomes. The more you contribute to the happiness of others, the happier you feel. It's as if the universe rewards service with even greater capacity to serve. But this service must come from authenticity, not obligation. You can't force yourself to care about causes that don't genuinely move you. You can't pretend to be passionate about work that doesn't inspire you. You can't fake enthusiasm for activities that drain your energy. True service emerges naturally when you're connected to what brings you alive, when you're expressing your authentic nature, when you're following the pull of your deepest calling. This calling isn't always obvious or dramatic. For some people, it shows up as a clear vision or a sudden insight. But for most of us, it reveals itself gradually through the accumulation of small experiences, subtle attractions, gentle nudges in particular directions. It might be the subject you find yourself reading about in your spare time, the conversations that energize you, the problems you naturally notice and want to solve, the people you feel drawn to help. Your calling is often hidden in what comes easily to you, what feels natural and effortless. You might discount these abilities precisely because they don't feel difficult or special to you. But what feels easy to you might be tremendously challenging for others. What seems obvious to you might be revolutionary to someone else. What you take for granted might be exactly what the world needs from you. Learning to value your natural gifts is part of trusting life's unfolding. You weren't given these abilities randomly. They're clues about how you're meant to contribute to the world. They're tools you've been equipped with for your particular mission. They're the means through which your unique purpose will express itself in the world. But gifts without courage remain unused. Talents without boldness stay hidden. Abilities without action serve no one. At some point, trusting life's unfolding requires you to step forward with your gifts. Even when you feel unprepared, even when you think you need more training, even when you're afraid you're not good enough, readiness is not a prerequisite for beginning. It's a result of beginning. The world needs what you have to offer right now. Not after you become perfect, not after you eliminate all your fears, not after you figure everything out. Your gifts are meant to be shared in their current form at their current level of development. They will grow and improve through use, through practice, through the feedback you received from putting them into action. This requires a willingness to be imperfect, to make mistakes, to learn as you go. It requires releasing the need to have everything figured out before you begin. It requires trusting that you'll be guided and supported as you move forward. That the resources you need will appear when you need them, that the right people will show up at the right times to help you along your path. His trust and guidance and support is not blind faith. It's based on accumulated evidence from your own experience. Every time you followed your inner knowing and things worked out, you strengthened your ability to trust that knowing. Every time you've taken a leap of faith and landed safely, you've increased your willingness to leap again. Every time you've asked for help and received it, you've deepened your confidence that you're not alone in this journey. Over time, you build a personal history of being cared for, guided, and supported by forces beyond your control. You accumulate proof that you live in a friendly universe that wants you to succeed. You gather evidence that when you're aligned with your authentic path, resources appear, doors open, people help, circumstances arrange themselves to support your highest good. This personal evidence base becomes unshakable because it's based on your direct experience rather than other people's theories or promises. You know what you know because you've lived it, felt it, witnessed it firsthand. This knowing becomes a source of strength during difficult times because no one can argue out of what you've personally experienced. From this foundation of experiential knowledge, you develop what might be called spiritual confidence, not arrogance or superiority, but a quiet certainty that you're supported, guided, and loved by the very source of life itself. This confidence allows you to take risks that your ego would avoid, to trust people your fear would doubt, to pursue dreams your rational mind would dismiss as unrealistic. This spiritual confidence also gives you permission to be fully yourself without apology or explanation. You stop trying to fit into other people's definitions of who you should be. You stop contorting yourself to meet expectations that don't resonate with your soul. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You give yourself permission to shine as brightly as you naturally do, to express your gifts as fully as they want to be expressed, to live your truth as completely as you're capable of living it. This authenticity is perhaps the greatest gift you can give to the world, because it gives others permission to be authentic too. When people see you living genuinely, following your heart, trusting your path, it reminds them that they have the same options. Your courage to be yourself inspires others to be themselves. Your willingness to trust life's unfolding helps others develop their own trust. Your faith in your unique path encourages others to honor their own paths. In this way, your personal journey of learning to trust life's unfolding becomes a contribution to the collective healing and awakening of humanity. Every person who learns to live authentically, to follow their calling, to trust their inner guidance, to serve from their gifts creates a ripple effect that touches countless other lives. Your individual transformation becomes part of a global transformation that's happening. One heart, one life, one choice at a time. This is the ultimate meaning of being pulled in the right direction. You're not just being guided toward your personal fulfillment. You're being drawn toward your role in the larger healing of our world. Your life matters not just to you, but to everyone whose life you touch, everyone who witnesses your example, everyone who benefits from the unique gifts you came here to share. Trust this. Trust the pull you feel toward greater authenticity, deeper service, more meaningful contribution. Trust the unfolding that's happening in your life right now. Even if it looks messy or uncertain or different from what you planned, trust that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to become. The path ahead may be unclear, but the next step is always available. The destination may be unknown, but the direction is always calling. The outcome may be uncertain, but the journey is always unfolding. Trust it all. Trust yourself. Trust the love that brought you into existence and continues to guide your every breath. You're being pulled in the right direction, and that direction is toward the fullest expression of who you truly are.